everybody. It is time. March Madness. The madness is upon us. Conference tournaments. I have to thank, obviously, the NCAA for using this beautiful, inspirational song there. It's great to be with you. I am your host, Wandy, with the Stock Showdown. My inspiration. Excuse me, that was really loud. But anyways, my inspiration behind creating the Stock Showdown was for that very reason right there, and that is March Madness. One of my favorite times of the year. You have all the Cinderella stories. You have the teams that are fighting and scrapping just to get into the big dance and to make a run. Where some of these seniors, this is their final go-around. And then some of these freshman sensations, they got one and done, so that might be it for them. But really this stems back all the way to 2019 when I started this initiative, Stock Showdown, when I had a student, God bless him, Andrew Zermack, came into my class. He was a basketball player, and he came in and he asked me, Mr. Anderson, can we watch March Madness in class today? And again, he's coming in at about noon, 12:10, something like that, on a Thursday, the first Thursday of the tournament, where, again, it starts at about noon, 12:15, something like that, and you got games all day. So I immediately dismissed the thought of that, even though when I was in that predicament at 17, 18 years old, something like that, I remember my dear friend, Jonathan Lorenz, shout out to Skip if you're there, or you're going to watch this on replay. Oh, by the way, congrats, Skip. I think I caught something through the grapevine that you and the missus are expecting. So congratulations to my boy Skip, Jonathan Lorenz out there. It is a game changer, my friend. So enjoy it. Cherish every moment. It is a fantastic experience. So congrats to my boy, Jonathan Lorenz. Anyways. It goes all the way back to like 7th grade, and Lorenz there would be collecting money to do the NCAA brackets. So this goes all the way back to then of where my interest and passion has lied with March Madness and things like that. So kudos to him for continuing that that tradition. He's probably still doing it. So God bless you, Skip. Anyways, when we were in high school, I always wanted to watch the games, but like obviously today's day and age, you can get the games on your phones. But back then, I remember actually bringing like a mini television. I don't know where I came up with this thing, or this little mini TV. And I don't know if my father knew I brought it to school, so sorry, Dad, but I brought a TV to school so I could watch the March Madness games. And I remember tucking it into my backpack and watching and trying to watch the games during class. So again, my apologies to those holy name teachers. Shout out to the Green Wave. You done good. Wish I would have tried a little bit harder there in high school and focused more on the academics rather than trying to watch March Madness. But I digress. So it all comes back down to that student, Andrew Zermack, then revisiting that moment for me of March Madness and trying to watch it during class. So I immediately dismissed it and like, all right, we have things to do here, so let's get going. So I told him, here, let's do this assignment. And then I just started writing all over my whiteboards. I was like, I got this epiphany, this idea of, I think I can do something here with these kids to really open their eyes to the world of investing with stocks, but in the realm of making it competitive with sports. So what I did is I just started drawing brackets all over the board. And I started putting the ticker symbols, which is the stock abbreviation of a publicly traded company, in each of the brackets. And I was just randomly putting these names and matching them up. I was like, here's what we're going to do. We are going to track and analyze these companies against each other. And you're going to predict which companies are going to have a better 2-day performance, 3-day performance, week performance, and then you're going to move them on through the bracket. And just like you would in March Madness, you're going to just do these with these companies. And for every correct answer you get in one round, you're going to get 5 points, 10 points in round 2, so on and so forth. And the person at the end with the most amount of points I'm going to buy him lunch or something like that. So that's really where it all started in 2019 with the Stock Showdown. And then 2020 hit. We had, COVID and everything like that in 2020, 2021. A little obviously hangover from that and still carrying on. But the mission still continued with trying to do new things with the Stock Showdown, with fantasy weekly challenges and things like that. But it always came back to this was the bread and butter. This was the March Madness Stock Showdown Bracket Challenge Tournament. This is a very exciting period of time, and I tried to line the two up. So here it is, introducing to you the bracket challenge. Now, you can't see my screen at home, so I'm going to articulate it as best I can for you all at home. However, I am also simultaneously recording this with the screen share feature through a platform that I'm using called Riverside.fm. So shout out to the team over at Riverside FM. That's where I've been doing a lot of my podcasts. Those of you that have been following that, thank you for your support and appreciation to that. So I'm going to wave over to Chrissy, thank you for joining us on the Instagram. I appreciate that. And good luck with, I saw something come through on the InfoCast with the foundation, Sussex Tech Foundation. So keep doing good work over there, Chrissy. So thank you for joining on the gram. Anyways, so you're going to see this later on, and that's the bracket. Because I'm actually, again, simulcasting this through Riverside, and I'm showcasing my screen right now. So you'll be able to see the replay of this, and I will share that with everybody. But I just want to break down, this is how it actually works. So in the March Madness, you have a field of 64 teams. Now, obviously, these teams are in their conference tournaments, and they're trying to get in. And some teams who don't win their conference tournaments, they still get what's called an at-large bid. But bottom line is, by the time Sunday comes, you're going to have a group of people get together, and they're going to find the field of 64. Technically, it's 68. I don't want to get into all the details. But you get these 68 teams, and they're matched up together in regions, all right? Now, there's 4 regions. I believe there's like a Midwest, there's a South, there's a North, maybe Northeast, and there's an East. I don't even know all the different regions. Not important, though. But anyways, these 4 regions then are separated into 16 teams per region, roughly. Let's just say that. Let's, again, just go with the simple math. Instead of 68, we'll go with the 64. That's traditionally how it was way back in the day when I started. Again, it's St. John Bosco. Shout out to the Bears of St. John Bosco. But nevertheless, so you have these 16 teams in each region, all right? Now, they take the top team and they partner them up with the 16 seed, okay? What they eventually want to do is they want to get in each region the 1 versus the 2 to have the best favorable matchups, but that doesn't always happen. And ultimately what you want to get is the number 1 seed coming out of each and every region, so you can have the 4 best teams, according to the eyes of these people that are putting this together, go head-to-head against each other. Always doesn't happen. I think it's only happened once in history. But nevertheless, we're doing the same thing here with the Stock Showdown Bracket Challenge. Is instead of 4 regions, if you will, we're going with 4 industries. Now, there are 11 major industries in the economy. I'm not going to get into all 11. It's not important right now. It's all on the website, stock-showdown.com, if you want to see all 11 industries. But what I did is I tried to find the most favorable industries with the most recognizable names that you will all recognize when you do participate. And God willing, you do participate. But we came up with 4 popular industries, and here they are. We have the consumer cyclical industry. We have the communication services industry. We have the consumer defensive industry, and we have the technology industry. So those 4 industries will be in play here. So now the companies that are going to hail in this tournament have to hail from one of those industries. Now, where did I come up with these companies? All right, here's what I did. To try and get the most recognizable names from each one of those industries, what I did is I took a website that I use. It's called finviz.com. I aggregated the data from this particular website to get the companies that are the largest from each one of those respective 4 industries. Okay? And what I mean by largest, what is the definition of large in the context of the Stock Showdown? We're taking a look at what's called market capitalization. All right? Market capitalization is the total amount of shares outstanding of a publicly traded company multiplied by the price per share that investors are willing to pay for those shares of that particular company. When you multiply the two together, you get a very large number when we're talking about these companies as far as market capitalization. All right, so that's how you determine the size of these particular companies. So you take the top 16 market capitalization teams from your consumer cyclical, your communication services, your consumer defensive, and your technology. So the field now is at 64, it's not 68. So it's not exactly like today's March Madness. It's like the old days. So very similar to March Madness though. I take the number one seed in each one of those industries and they get matched with the 16th seed or the 16th highest market capitalization team from that industry. 2 plays 15, 3 plays 14, 4 plays 13, so on and so forth until you get to the 8-9 matchup. All right? So in a nutshell, that's really the crux of the Stock Showdown and the Bracket Challenge. You will be able to see, once I post this video, each of those matchups. And I'm going to briefly go over, just as an example, some of those matchups. And we're going to dive right into the consumer cyclical industry. Okay, so as an example, because I don't want to go through each and one of these industries, that's not the point here of this video. So nevertheless, we have the number one seed coming from the consumer cyclical industry, and that belongs to Amazon. Amazon is a nearly $2 trillion company. They are the number one seed coming out of consumer cyclical, which means they will play the number 16 seed or the 16th highest market capitalization team from consumer cyclical, which happens to be Marriott International Incorporated. All right, so that's just one of the many matchups from the consumer cyclical industry. Another example, I'll go right to the number 2 versus the number 15 matchup. You have the number 2 seed coming out of consumer cyclical, and that is Tesla Inc. Tesla Inc., again, looking at some of the data that I do have on Tesla, companies for the bracket. We're looking down at consumer cyclical. Tesla is right now at the close, which was 4 o'clock, $841 billion company, and they'll match up against General Motors. General Motors, which is a $64 billion company, is the number 15 seed. So that's really how it's going to work. And again, I don't want to break down each and every one of those matchups right here today. The point of today was just to introduce you to that, get you excited about this. Communication services is going to be the same thing, the number one seed, Alphabet Inc. Coming out of that one, we'll say a number 2 seed is Meta, formerly known as Facebook. We'll circle back over to technology now. On the other side of the bracket, we have Apple as the number 1 seed, and number 2 seed is Microsoft. Coming out of consumer defensive, number 1 seed, Walmart, number 2 seed, Procter & Gamble. All right? So here's how it's going to work. Each and every week, the companies will be matched up against each other, and to determine the winner, we'll be looking at their percentage gain for that week on the New York Stock Exchange. We will be taking the closing price of that particular company at 4 o'clock on the previous Friday and measured against where they close at 4 p.m. the following Friday. So, week 1 of the tournament begins this Monday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's when the United States stock market opens for business, for trading. So at 9:30 a.m., you're going to see Amazon versus Marriott. You're going to see Tesla versus General Motors. You're going to see McDonald's versus Starbucks as an example. Nike versus JD.com. Home Depot's versus Ford. Toyota versus TJX, Alibaba versus Booking Holdings, and Lowe's versus Airbnb. That's all coming out of consumer cyclical. So that week, from Monday to Friday, will be measured against each other. The team that has the highest percentage gain for that week moves on to round 2. And we do the same thing for round 2, which is going to start on 3/21. But it's going to use the previous Friday's closing price as the starting point. Your objective then is each and every week before the stock market opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your objective is to select the companies that you think are going to have a better week than their competitor. And for round one, for every correct answer you get, you'll be getting 5 points for your total. Round two, same thing. You're going to figure out which companies you think are going to have a better performance than its competitor for the following week. Get those right, 10 points for every correct answer. And the point totals incrementally increase by a value of 5 until you get to the championship round. I believe at the championship round, we're talking 30 points by that point because there are 6 rounds, increments of 5. Quick math, 6 times 5, you got 30 points coming to the winner. If you get the winner right from the championship round. So that all begins on Monday, 9:30 a.m. So it is incumbent upon you, if you want to participate in the 2022 Stock Showdown Bracket Challenge, you must get your picks in by 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to qualify. Now, there are some prizes involved here. We'll be giving away 3 prizes, first, second, and third. Third place, $20 Amazon gift card. Second place, $50 Amazon gift card. And the winner will be getting a $100 Amazon gift card, thanks to the Stock Showdown. Now, to participate, it is a $20 entry fee to participate in this tournament that covers you for all 6 rounds. During each one of those rounds, I will be going live during the week to give a play-by-play breakdown on what's happening with each and every matchup, just to, again, give you some context of what's been taking place halfway through the week. And on Friday, when the dust settles at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Friday, going live to update the bracket to see which companies are moving on and to give an update on the standings. Now, you don't necessarily have to wait until then to see how you are doing in the standings. That's why we have the Stock Showdown website. That's stock-showdown.com, where you can find all this information. All right, so those of you, again, watching on Facebook and Instagram, you'll be able to see this later when I post it. But on the website, you'll have 4 buttons that you can select. At the bottom, not in the header, not in the header bar, but down at the bottom, you'll see 4 buttons. One that says Play Now, one that says Stock Showdown Live Bracket, one that says Bracket Challenge Standings, and one that says Player Picks. All right, let's get into what those tabs actually mean and those buttons actually mean. All right, when you're ready to make those selections. Now, this weekend, I will be going live on Saturday and Sunday, multiple times during those days, to break down each and every one of those 4 regions and each and every matchup within all those regions. So basically, over the course of this weekend, I will be dissecting 32 different matchups. I'm excited to do this. I have all the data. And again, you can do your own due diligence and do your own research. But that's what I want to do this weekend. I want to be able to provide that insight and guidance for you so you can make those well-informed picks by Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to qualify. So when you're ready to do that, you'll be going in and you'll be hitting one of the buttons that says Play Now. You hit the Play Now button, and that's going to bring you to a Google form. That Google form is going to ask you 1 for your email and 2 for a username. So for those people that, again, are going to be watching this later, I'm just going to put an entry in here now. I'm going to put my email address and then my username, Wendy. Now, the next page brings me to those matchups for the consumer cyclical industry. As I explained before, when we were showing the bracket, again, those of you that are going to be watching this later, I showed you the bracket. Now here are those matchups. We have Amazon versus Marriott. That's the number 1 versus 16 seed. Whichever company you think is going to outperform the other next week, You're just going to click that button that says the company that you want. In this case, I'm taking Amazon. Again, this is just for show. I'm not actually taking Amazon, even though I probably will, but I still have to do my research and due diligence. Moving down the matchups, Airbnb and Lowe's. All right. You click and keep clicking the teams that you think are going to outperform their competitors for that week. Now, you hit the next button, because that's just going to bring you to the next industry, as denoted up here at the top where it says communication services. You're going to do the same thing for this bracket. You're going to do the same thing for consumer defensive. You'll do the same thing for technology. When it's all said and done, you'll get a button at the bottom that says to submit. When you're ready to go, submit. All the data then comes back to the spreadsheet that I'm using to track all of this data. And that is going to be another video where I get to showcase how the magic works behind the scene. Very excited to show that to you guys. I love good spreadsheet, but I digress. So once that's all said and done and you've made your picks, I want you then to go back to the website, because that's where you'll be able to see not only your picks, but everybody else's picks that's participating. Now you're probably thinking, well, then can't I just use that as an advantage, knowing what everybody else picked? I'll just pick something different. Yes, you could do that. However, there's some great formulas and sheets that allows me to hold that data until a particular time. And that particular time, if you've hopefully been paying a close attention, this data does not get released until a very specific moment. And that moment happens to be 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on that Monday for that next round. So the picks have to be in by 9:30. The data of all the players' picks won't get released until that moment as well. So you can't use that to your advantage. I see some people maybe thinking that they were going to try to do that. So I as a teacher, you have to be one step ahead of your students. So on the website, you would be able to hit player picks. Now, right now, this document is not published because I am not ready to publish that document just yet. We are holding that back until 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. So right now, this document will not be published, but as soon as it does go live, you'll be able to see not only your picks, but everybody else's picks in each of those 4 industries. Let's get out of that. And now, when the dust settles on Friday, but you don't have to wait till Friday, because this too will be open to you. It is the Stock Showdown live bracket. So you will be able to see how your teams are performing in real time. Disclaimer, however, because the database that I'm using, Google Sheets, it does give me a disclaimer that quotes could be delayed up to 20 minutes. So just keep that in mind. That's why I don't go live until 4:30, because I want the dust to settle to be able to give you the most accurate data that does exist. So anyways, this will be able and will be visible to you come 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. And that's the live bracket. So you can see how you and your teams are faring. And then lastly, you'll be able to see the standings, how you're faring once all the dust settles on that Friday. How many points did you get for all the correct answers that you got? And then how did everybody else do? And where do you fall in those standings? Also not published yet, because that's forthcoming once this thing starts rolling. But what I can show you right now is, again, a snapshot. Those of you that are at home, the entire bracket is right here. It's really difficult, I think, to see because, again, it's encompassing all 64 teams in all of the different industries, all done through a Google Sheet. I love it. I love Google Sheets and the different ways these formulas work to bring this to you. I can't tell you how excited and pumped and jacked up that I am each and every March when this happens. So this will be live for you come Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. The standings, which are irrelevant until Friday at 4:30, and then your selections with everybody else's selections. All found on the stockshowdown.com website. You can follow me on those channels there at the bottom, the YouTube channel. Not much out there. I'm trying to do different things instead of YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter. That's at Stock Showdown. The Instagram as well as the handle Stock Showdown. Facebook, Stock Showdown, or my own personal name, William Anderson. That's fine as well. And then all the podcasts that I'll be doing, where I'll be giving, again, the play-by-play and dissecting each and every matchup. I'll be taking the video and posting it again on all those channels. And then I'll be taking the audio and putting those on the different podcasting channels or stations that I use, different music stations, which would be Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. So there is a whole slew of places that you can listen, watch, be entertained, because the point of this is to get people as excited about March Madness, competitive sports, fantasy sports, about, again, the different companies and stocks and the stock market out there. That's really the inspiration behind this, is taking two of my passions, which is, again, the stock market, and combining it with competitive and fantasy sports. Not only that, but also give me the opportunity to kind of live a fantasy job of mine. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. So I guess this is as close as it's going to get. So I'm loving what I do. I hope that passion kind of just exudes out of me. I can feel it, and I hope you guys all feel it too. So if you have, please, any questions at all throughout this whole ordeal, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach out to me personally through all those channels, direct message, what have you. You can also email me. That's Wanderson@stock-showdown.com. But it's been a privilege and honor being here with you this afternoon. Thank you for your patience on this. I wanted to go live at 4:30, but we were having a technological snafu. I want to thank my wife for talking some sense into me and talking me down as I was panicking, trying to get this all done by 4:30. So she talked me down. So thanks, Court. You're an angel, my rock. So thank you for that. And really getting excited, really excited. I really want to get you guys in it this year and get us keep growing this and really build the brand, build the name, and get people excited about it. So this is Wandy signing off. God bless. And now I have to sign off of every different station that I'm